Hey, hello everyone. Good noon. I think most of you are feeling sleepy. Had good lunch. I didn't have much actually because I don't want to sleep. Actually, I want to present here. Anyways, my name is Veeratteshwaran Sridhar. Its name is pretty big. You can call me as Veera. Whenever I go and say like Veeratteshwaran Sridhar, they say like, okay, Sridhar. They don't pronounce my first name, Veeratteshwaran. So even though if it is, I was thinking like, okay, when my name is like Sridhar Veeratteshwaran, so how do they pronounce? Will they go for my second name or first name? Okay. I work for Oracle. Oh my God. I work for Oracle as a senior principal product manager. We have a product called Oracle GoldenGate. And how many of you know Oracle GoldenGate? Wow, I'm happy. Okay. Because when I came in, I thought I entered in a different world. I was in a different world actually, because my world is completely different. So everyone were talking about publishing, messaging, queue, Kafka, consumers, producers. It's all new to me actually, because we all talk about database, Oracle, SQL Server, MySQL, all those things. So it's okay. Now what we will do is, I was in your world. So now what I will do is, I will take you guys to my world. Then what I will do, I will sync my world and your world, and then we will be in all our world. So today my topic is productizing AsyncAPI for data replication, or CDC. It's a safe harbor statement. So this is the agenda for today. A brief background about what is CDC, and a little about what is Oracle GoldenGate, and then why AsyncAPI, and then AsyncAPI integrating with Oracle GoldenGate, and then our experiences so far, and what's in our roadmap. So to give a brief introduction about CDC, first I need to talk about database. So you all know about database, right? So I know many people are laughing here. That's fine. So you, as an application developer or application programmer, what do? You make changes in the application, right? So you insert data, you do a lot of operations, and all those data goes and stores in a database, right? So all these operations, whatever is happening in the database, will be logged into a log file, which is called as redo log in Oracle. If it is SQL Server, we call it as transaction logs. If it is DB2, we call it as journals. So each and every operation, whatever you do, right? Insert, update, deletes, these are called DML operations, and DDL changes to the tables, like altering the table, so adding a column to the table, dropping a column from the table, right? Everything, whatever operations you do, everything will be stored in the logs, okay? So most of the databases, like they have all centralized log, like I told you, like redo log or transaction log or journals, and this is wherein CDC comes into the picture. So what if I want to capture all those data? First of all, why do I want to capture those data? Right, so you guys write codes, you do a lot of application programs, you do all operations, and everything happens in the database. What if the database goes down? What if the database crashes? So where do you get the data? So that is the reason why all the operations are being logged in the log files. So even though if the database crashes, so what happened? I can recover my data, right? So that is where the redo logs or the transaction logs, everything plays a major role. And CDC is a technology wherein it captures the transactions whenever you make a commit. So I make an insert operation in a database. Obviously, I connect to a database, a session gets created, I do all the operations, right? Either by application or if it is Oracle, it's SQL, right? So I write my SQL statement, I press enter. So once I insert the data and commit it, the data will get captured. So we have a durability here, right? Only the committed data are getting captured. That we call it as CDC. And replication, again, if my database crashes, I have only one database, and all my database crashes, so what will happen? I don't have a DR, I don't have HA. For that purpose, we brought in a technology called replication. So whatever operations I do on the source system, all the committed transactions, all the committed changes, DDL changes, DML changes, once it is committed, everything will be captured and replicated to the target. That we call it as replication. So now GoldenGate, GoldenGate was one of the oldest or first tools in the area, from the 1990s itself. And to tell the history of the GoldenGate, for example, Debezium, yeah, it's famous like since 2020, but we are in the market from 1990s. And GoldenGate is mainly developed to provide a high availability for the distributed databases. So Oracle GoldenGate is basically a replication product, replication tool, wherein you can replicate data from any database to any database. So it's an Oracle product. It's not like I can only capture the data from Oracle and replicate data to Oracle. It's not like that. You can capture data from any database. Either it can be Oracle, SQL Server, MySQL, DB2, anything. And you can replicate the data to any databases. Also, you can replicate your data to any NoSQL engines, big data systems, Hadoop, your favorite, Kafka. You can do that. And moving forward, what we have done is we are also able to capture the data from Kafka now. We capture the data from Kafka and we replicate to the different targets. So today, GoldenGate is like $1 billion global ecosystem for mission critical systems. Many of the customers around the world, for example, approximately 10,000 customers in 180 plus countries, they use Oracle GoldenGate. The day you start with Starbucks and you go to bed at the night to relax, you watch Netflix movies, you use GoldenGate. Everywhere GoldenGate is used. Okay. So first, what I want to do is, before getting deep into the GoldenGate with AsyncAPI, I just wanted to explain you how GoldenGate works, because this helps you guys to understand how the integration of AsyncAPI has happened with GoldenGate and how that works. So this is my source system. It's here Oracle. Since I am from Oracle, it can be any database. Okay. The source is Oracle, and my target database is Oracle. So what happens from the applications? You do a lot of operations. So all the operations, right, will be logged into the, logged into the log files, redo logs. Okay. So from the redo logs, once the data is committed, right, the extract is the process. Extract, or we can say it as capture. The extract is a process which will capture those committed transaction and writes to a trial file. We call it as ledgers. So all the data, whichever is committed, those data will be captured by the extract process and written to the trial files. And from the trial files, whatever data has been written will be pulled or read by the service called distribution service. So there will be a heartbeat. So it will be keep on checking the trial files. So is there any new data came in or not? So once it sees the new data is read, and this data will be over the network pushed to the target side. And in the target side, we have something called receiver service. Receiver service, receiving the data. So whatever data is going to come from the source to target, the receiver service receives the data and writes to a trial file in the target. Here we have a trial file. This we call it as source trial or local trial, and this we call it as remote trial or target trial. So in the target, from the target trial, whatever changes has come and written to the trial file, replicate is a process. We call it as apply. Replicate is a process which reads all the data, whatever is written to the target trial files, and applies the data to the Oracle database, target database. Any doubts? So whatever data is written in the trial files, it will be written in its own canonical format, and this replicate has the ability to convert that canonical format data into a SQL statement and then runs the SQL statement in the target database. So this all happens within milliseconds. So once the data is committed to the source, within milliseconds you can see the data in the target. Okay. We have other services like admin service, so wherein you create all this extract process and replicate process. We have distribution service. For each and every service, it has its own UI, web UI. It all works on its own port. So you can just log in and you can do whatever. You can create extract, you can create distribution service, receiver service, everything you can do. So now history of GoldenGate. It has been a decade. Initially when GoldenGate was there, it was only replicating data from database to database. So the next 10 years, 2005 to 2015, that was an emergence of the MPP, massive parallel processing. Big data came into the market. It was booming like anything. So what we did, we kind of enhanced the product to apply the data to the big data systems. And from 2015 to today, earlier, whatever architecture I showed you now is called the microservices architecture. But the old architecture of GoldenGate, we call it as classic architecture. We shifted the classic architecture to the microservices, and now we have it in cloud as well. We call it as OCI, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, right? So we have OCI GoldenGate. So we can run GoldenGate as a service. Everything is automated. So once you deploy GoldenGate, extract process starts running, it captures data and replicates data to the target. Everything is managed automatically. So now, adoption of async. Again, it's a natural part of the evaluation of GoldenGate. You know, GoldenGate is a completely asynchronous replication. It's not synchronous, it's all asynchronous. Like again, AsyncAPI, right? Asynchronous API. So more, that's what. So more and more use cases like event sourcing, designs, patterns like transaction outbox, Saga patterns. And when coming to the Kafka, right, don't bother, like we were alongside working along with like Kafka as well. So we do, I told you, right, we do capture data from Kafka and we also kind of replicate data to Kafka. But most of the thing is, right, we have something called ACID property, right? We have atomicity, consistency, integrity, and durability, right? So Kafka will not have, it doesn't have the consistency with the ACID property. Suppose I have foreign key relationship or relational integrity constraints, any relational keys, whatever is getting captured from the source in the target, we cannot make sure the consistency is same. So that's one of the drawback of Kafka. And in our experience with many customers, like we love the way the Kafka works, actually one to many, many to many, like, but most of the customers, they say like sometimes we feel like it's too much overhead for many use cases. Whenever you have so many consumers, whenever we kind of publish data from one application to another application. So that was one of the major drawback of the Kafka. And that is when we thought, okay, why can't we go ahead and integrate async API with Oracle GoldenGate, right? So these are the sources. So any database, you can just capture the data using Oracle GoldenGate. You have extract process, captures, and we something introduced called Oracle data streams. So that's the one we kind of integrated with Async API. This data stream acts as your broker. So Kafka is a broker, right? MQ, it's a broker. So similarly, Oracle data streams acts as your broker and transfers or replicates your data to the target. And any, like in the JSON format, wherein the data transactions, you can see inserts, updates, deletes, and all the schema changes, everything will be there in the JSON format. And you also get a YAML descriptor wherein you can kind of customize like what kind of data you need, right? So the benefit is real-time data events. So on a real time, whenever a data is getting captured in the source, within milliseconds, your data will be there in the target. So within millisecond, you will get the data in the target, and that we call it as real time. The second one is you can automate, like using the code generators. For example, we use like Python, Node.js, Java, etc., etc. So you can automate your code generators, and it's very simple. Even the sourcing and transaction outbox patterns, and whatever drawbacks we faced with Kafka, that's been completely bypassed. And we believe Async API is the future of the EDA, event-driven transactions, and the architecture. And that's the reason why we kind of integrate Async API with the Oracle GoldenGate. So two important big pictures here. One is like there can be two consumers. One is like the customers, wherein for the regular consumer activity, like the data will be captured, and using the data streams, the data will be replicated or written to the JSON format, wherein the consumers or the application users can consume the data. The second one is the same data can be written in a format of package file, and this is used for the real-time analytics, so data analytics, right? So that can be used. So why do we bind with database? Why we want to bind with the data tier? What is the use of it actually? So the first one is commit, right? So only the committed changes are captured, and that creates a durability of the data. The second one is, as I told you, in milliseconds, your data will be replicated to the target database, so lowest latency. And you get a lot of options to automate to capture the source, data from the source. So these are the major 3 points that benefits, that gives more benefits when using Oracle GoldenGate with Async API. This is something, one of the example, The classic example as of now, transaction outbox without CDC or any async API. It's a regular one, wherein I have source table, source database. These are all the relational tables or the base tables. For example, order, customer, any table name. And I do have the outbox table. So there will be a message relay, and this is a polling process, right? So every 30 seconds or every 1 minute, it will be keep on running, and it pulls the data. And once it pulls the data, obviously it can be Kafka or MQ, that it's a broker, and that pushes the data to the target so that the consumers can consume the data. But again, what are the pros of it? Of course, we have the outbox pattern, which ensures the data consistency. And the JSON schema may be defined by either producer or consumer. So the producer can tell, so this is the data which I need to replicate. Or the consumers they can define the JSON schema. But the cons is latency. Again, this is a polling method, and that's the reason why you will not get real-time data, right? You have some latency. That's one point. The second thing is burden of changes in the life cycle of the producer. So whenever there is a change in the table or the relational table or something, again they need to rewrite the changes. Again, one more thing is like my data. Again, one more thing. Sorry. Again, one more thing is that I don't want to expose all my data to the consumers, right? Again, the producer want to say like what kind of data I need to provide to the consumers. The second one is transaction outbox with CDC and async API. So here you see with the previous image and this one, there is no polling method and there is no broker. So both the works are done by the GoldenGate. So we use Oracle data streams, right? Data streams are nothing but in Kafka you say channels, right? AsyncAPI you say channels, different channels. That's a keyword over there. Here it's called data streams. That's it. It's not a different. Only the terminology is different. So we create multiple data streams, and this whenever there is a commit happens, GoldenGate captures the data and pushes the data to the target. So this Oracle GoldenGate completely replaces the broker as well as the message relay, right? So the pros here again, yes, we have CDC plus async API, which provides very low latency. As I told you, the replication is very fast and easy for the consumer. And the cons, we can say again, burden of change lifecycle is in the producer. The next one is transaction outbox with Oracle JSON, relational duality. So this is one of the new feature which is going to get released in the Oracle database 23.4. And currently, the GoldenGate version available in the market is 21C, and most probably by next year we'll be releasing GoldenGate 23C. So that is wherein you get this feature. That's one of the cons here. But you know, like JSON duality is nothing but whenever you store a data in the database, it will be storing in both the types. Either you can pull the data with relational tables, or you can also see in a JSON format as well. So both the formats are available internally, and everything is automated here, right? Everything is automated here. So that's one of the major feature which is going to come in Oracle database 23C, I mean 23.4. But if you are using an older version of GoldenGate, that will be supported. But this is like can consume from older GG instances. It means like if you are using GoldenGate 19C or something, and if you are going to capture the data from 19C database, that's fine. But the requirement is database 23.4. And this is again, how many of you like DBS here? How many of you like DBS here? Great. So because no, like DBS and application programmers, right? They are like Tom and Jerry, right? Whenever there is some issue happens, they say like, no, it's DBS fault. Then they say like, no, it's application code fault. That is what happens. Okay. So this is something I don't think so whether you people like it or not. We have something called views in database, right? So instead of creating outbox pattern table or something, you can also create views on the relational tables, and from that view, the data will be captured and replicated to the target. Again, the cons, that's where highlighted, right? DBA must be engaged to create and maintain all the views. So the application team needs to coordinate with the DBA, and they ask like, this is what the data I want, and you create the view, and then they need to maintain the view, refreshing the view, as and when the data gets changed, right? So that's a burden with database, I mean DBA again, but again, the coordination is more important between application and the DBA team here. So application DB events, this is one of the, I know again the same thing. The only one thing is in my previous example, there were no outbox table. This is also possible, right? You don't want any JSON duality here, or you don't want even the outbox table here. You can directly write your program, and you can just capture the data from the base table itself, directly from the relational table itself. But what is the con over here? I am exposing all my data to the consumers, which I don't want to do, right? So I don't want to expose all my data to the consumers. So I want only out of 10 columns, I need to only replicate only 2 columns. I don't want to expose all the other 8 columns. So, but here that's not possible. I'm exposing all my data structure, the relationship, everything will be exposed to the consumer. So that's one of the cons over here. But it's easy for the producer. For the producer, it's nothing. The GoldenGate is going to capture the data and it's going to send it to the target. So again, there is no free lunch. Even today, we didn't have free lunch, for sure. Someone is going to pay for it, right? Today, is it Postman or AsyncAPI? Who paid for our lunch?
Postman.
Postman, okay. Thanks for that. So out of these 3 thing, right, one is from the JSON base table. In source app, consumers must transform into locally required format. The second one is JSON business objects in consumer provided format. Here, producers or application developers must create business object to publish according to the requirement. In the third method, as I told you, views, wherein the DBAs should work to create the views of the required data, right? So here, the second one is most popular, wherein the producers as well as the application developers are indulged in here. So basically, these are the steps. Just decide which database or tables or columns needs to be published. Use GoldenGate admin service. GoldenGate admin service is the one wherein you will be creating the extract process and replicate process, all those steps. And then use GoldenGate distribution service. In distribution service, you have data streams. I will be showing in my upcoming slides. So distribution service is nothing but from source to which target I need to send the data, right? So that distributes the data to the target. So create the distribution service. Use the REST API. Oracle GoldenGate completely works on RESTful API. So use the REST API or GUI. Browse the AsyncAPI channels. Authenticate using GG user or role, and download your YAML document and customize it as per your requirement, and build or generate the client code and consume the transactions. So, actually, the product, I thought to show you a demo, but the demo is not ready. So since it is in development, it's going to come in 23C. So we had some screenshots to show you guys. So this is how it looks like. See, this is the data stream. So once I click on this, I can see multiple data streams. This is for the order schema or order table, or this is for the payment stream or payment schema. So likewise, you can create different channels, so different data streams. And here, I told you, right, in the what does the extract process do? It captures the data and writes to a local trial file, right? Only from the local trial file, the data will be read. So for each and every channel, from where I need to read the data. So who is my source? So that you will be defining here. So what is a trial file name? You have different trial file name, different trial files with different names. So from which trial file I need to read a data? Because I can have order in A1 as a trial file name. I can have a payment in A2. So I need to map it. So once you give this, it automatically reads the data from the respective trial file and kinds of publishes the messages. So this is where you can filter. It's very easy. Like you can provide your rule name, and you can filter like what kind of object I need to kind of capture or publish, right? You can filtering can happen at object level, like even tables, and in the table, what columns I need to capture. So all these filterings can be done in this add data stream. And then comes the, this is typically like for now it is like WebSocket. Now we are planning to include the secure WebSocket as well. And 1 minute for this one, okay. And we're also planning to include the studio in the GG itself. So once we click on the GG, right, this studio screen comes actually in. So you don't want to go to a different URL or something. So here itself, if you click on the details, you can see all the details here, like user records, DML record, DDL record, object record, everything can be seen from here. And this is the YAML file, wherein you can customize. You can see all the records here, like objects over there in the schemas, below the schemas. And this is the client code, which will be generated, and example of an JavaScript, and I think, okay, this is where the data processing happens. Like you can implement your the user logic over there. So this is the record, which will be, you can see it in the graphical way, wherein you can see the table name, the operation type, what kind of operation it is, whether it is insert, update, or delete, the operation timestamp. You can see the transaction ID, and you can see the position of the record, where exactly it is stored. All the details can be seen from this. And this is an example of a JSON format record. So you can see the before and after image here. You can see all the things here. This is the table name, and this is operation type, operation timestamp, position of the record, transaction ID. This is the before image of the record. This is the after image of the record, and so on. This is the format how the data will be written by the GoldenGate on the target side in the JSON format. So options for the service, yeah, you can either use this WS, and definitely when it is released, we will be having the secured WebSockets as well. And payload service levels, yes, exact ones is where like the data consistency will be very high, and based on your application or business logic, you can use utmost ones, or even if you want to process the duplicate entries, if that is the case, then you can use at least once. And the start position, you can start from the current time, or the GoldenGate, using GoldenGate, you can start at any point of time, like at any position. So I can kind of configure GoldenGate today, and I can point out my extract process to capture the data from yesterday's time. Okay, that can be possible. So based on your requirement, you can start either to start from the current position or from the earlier position. Even those options are available from Oracle GoldenGate. And this is our roadmap. So currently it is only JSON as a default, but moving forward, we'll be having Avro, XML, and Protobuf, etc. And for the analytics side, we have Parquet, Iceberg, Delta, etc. So we're also planning to implement this in the cloud events. Again, it adds a little overhead and latency, but it may help simplify how some clients can pass the transactions. It also enhances the automation work. And business object semantics, yeah, when integrated with Oracle JSON relational duality, which I talked about, which is going to come in database 23.4. And stream processing, again, async API channels as output for streaming data pipelines. So this is our roadmap. This Oracle database 23.4 as well as the, Oracle GoldenGate 23.4, which will be releasing in upcoming year. And we will be having this Oracle data streams as a new concept by integrating AsyncAPI with GoldenGate. Will be available. So oh my God. So if you want to connect with me, I think it's gone.
Do we have any questions? Okay.
Yeah. Hi, Sridhar.
Veera.
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. It's a beginner's question regarding the first part of the presentation. So, like when we have 3 Oracle database instances, so we have one as the primary and other two as standbys, right? So the data DG disks in all the Oracle databases, are they replicated using GoldenGate?
You can use GoldenGate. GoldenGate is one of the options. So there are so many things, like you have DataGuard. So that is also there. So we have different replication products, replication tools. So GoldenGate is one of the replication tool for that.
Okay, like is that what Oracle actually suggests? Like when you have multiple instances?
Yes, you can do it. So it's not only multiple instances between Oracle. See, suppose I have, even in multi-cloud environment, I have my source database in Oracle, and I have my target in Azure, and I have one more database which is there in AWS. So yes, you can, using GoldenGate, you can replicate your data to between all these 3 databases.
Like you mean across clouds, across availability
cloud, yeah.
zones?
So Oracle GoldenGate is a heterogeneous replication tool wherein you can replicate data from any database to any database, any NoSQL engines, and even you can use it in multi-cloud environments.
So it's been there in 11G, 19C, and all the
Exactly,
versions.
it's there from 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, now 12, 13, now it is 21C. So next year it's going to be 23C.
Thank you. Yeah, that's it.
Any more questions?
But when Oracle acquired, I think so it is 11, but previously it was from 7, yeah.
All right, thank you so much, Veera, for a fantastic presentation. Let's give him a round of applause.
Hey, thanks to Lee for providing me this opportunity to present about Oracle GoldenGate. I think so many people understood what is GoldenGate, right? So because a last point, Oracle GoldenGate is something many people, what they think is like, okay, that needs to be configured only by DBAs. So that's DBA's work. But like there should be a coordination between the application and the application team and the DBA team. Because application team are the owners. DBA team only manages your data. So we are not the owners, right? So there should be integration between application team and the DBA team. So to configure efficient replication between the database systems. Thank you very much.